Hello everyone, I'm Henny and I'm the developer of the game Robots on F Lava, and in this developer blog I want to present you my initial concept for this game. I didn't write a single line of code at this point, but I thought before I start implementing the game I want to capture my ideas for the concept and I want to get early feedback on the ideas. Feel free to drop your opinion in the comments. This is the first video on this channel. There will be more. I'm gonna start implementing very soon my ideas. So about me, I'm Henny. I'm a software developer by profession already and I'm getting started with Unreal 5. So yeah, let's have a good time and let's talk about Roffle. The initial idea with Roffle was to have a PvP multiplayer arena game. So you and your friends can just queue up into a multiplayer PvP experience. There is no grinding, there is no progression system or something like that. All your equipment is unlocked from the start and there is no advantage in grinding, so this game will solely focus on PvP. There will be classes in an RPG kind of fashion, so something like warrior, archer, rogue, paladin, so these kind of stereotypes that you know from RPG settings. There will be a strong focus on team play, so this is gonna be one of the differentiators for the game. I really want team play to shine instead of just solo play or something like that. Successfully performing an action will grant you bonus energy. I'm thinking to have two types of energy, white energy and black energy. White energy can be used to enhance your teammates' defensive or utility kind of abilities. Black energy will be used to empower your allies' abilities to damage enemies. We will get back to that in a second. Considering the map, take a look at the concept here. So I'm thinking to play on top of a volcano. There is like your teams, I don't know the exact team sizes yet, maybe different modes will be supported. This is now 3v3. And you're surrounded by lava on a volcano. There's also already some lava rising on your battlefield, so I'm thinking of this as a limiter. The lava will rise and the area will be lower. Team 1 versus Team 2. Maybe some neutral objectives on the map that you can fight for. I'm thinking of something like a shrine or something. If you hold it, your team will get bonuses. So yeah, there is some incentive to control neutral objectives. I think a PvP game is quite stressful, so I think a little bit of downtime is actually beneficial. And yeah, in the middle maybe some higher ground, something like a mountain or a big rock that you can climb on, maybe hide behind, that you use for your kit. This is just a first idea, something like that. So basically a ring of lava with some items on the map. This is not the final layout, don't worry, this is just like a sketch to get the idea over. There will be lots of iteration, of course, on the arena, or maybe there will be also multiple arenas. But let's see. Let's jump back to the resources here. This is something to visualize what the resources could look like for you. You will have your normal health, and then mana, I think, is more like a spender resource. I think I will implement a lot of classes with builder-spender systems. So performing successful actions will grant you mana, and mana can be used to perform more powerful actions. Then we also have stamina. Stamina is supposed to be used for actions like rolls and jumps. Then of course we have the white energy and the dark energy that I just talked about, or black energy or whatever. Yeah, this is overall a lot of resources, but I think a PvP only game needs some complexity for skill expression. This will be a great differentiator between players, like how can you use in which part of the game which of your resources. So yeah, this is something I really look forward to see how this system plays out in the end. For example, let's say for dark energy or something like that, one of your teammates shoots a projectile, and with dark energy you can create a large portal, a sphere, and if your ally shoots his projectile through this sphere, it gets massively enhanced. So this really rewards team play and coordination. And yeah, this is something I really want to explore, like really empowering your teammates, making your teammates feel good about your actions and performing successful combinations as a team. So this is the direction I want to go in with this system. Here, for example, I have a very quick demo, like a projectile, and then it gets stronger. Let's talk about the combat systems for a bit. As you can see here, I'm thinking like in Dragon Ball to use a lot of aerial fights to really use this three-dimensional space. I'm building with Unreal Engine, and I think there's a lot of physics possibilities that are not used in other competitors that I played, like using forces on different objects to manipulate the map and use your spells to manipulate these objects or your movements and stuff like that. Considering targeting, everything is supposed to be a skill shot. I don't want tap targeting or point and click, like tap targeting, for example, from World of Warcraft, or point and click from auto attacks in League of Legends. If you're a mage, you're gonna shoot your fireball and you have to point it into a direction, and then a warrior of course can dodge it, and the closer the warrior is to you, then the harder of course it gets to dodge. Considering mobility, I'm thinking of multi-jumps, so once you're in the air you can jump again. I think this could be really fun, also combined with your stamina bar, with rolls or stuff like that, maybe blocking actions to manage your stamina bar, which refills rather fast. And then once you're in the air, you can also have combat, especially like melee versus melee could be super fun to implement. Maybe also have a button to slow falls, so you don't fall at normal gravity, but you can like go down more slowly, so you can stay at the same height for a longer amount of time. I think this could be a really fun combat experience. Alright, let's talk next about healing. For healing, I think there won't be a healbot class. So none of the classes will be performing 80 to 90% of actions just to heal your teammates. I want even classes that have heals to be played very offensively. So if you want to heal your teammates, first you need to perform multiple successful offensive actions to damage your enemies, and this with your mana unlocks a heal. So the heals need to be impactful then. They are also going to be skill shots, so it's something your teammates really need to look out for too. So it again should reward good team play. There is no healer shortage or something like that, people who don't want to play support, because like even classes that have a heal in their kit should be able to really outplay their opponents instead just of playing like a goalkeeper. As compensation for that, health pools will also be very large. So even if you stand still and someone performs their entire rotation on you, fights should still take a couple of minutes. So teams without a healer still have a realistic chance to win, because healing in general will not be as impactful as in other kind of PvP arena games. It will be compensated a lot by having large health pools, which will make the game last naturally long. Some mechanic I'm also thinking about. You have not been seeing this one here. It's a bit complicated with my OBS setup. I'm thinking to give everyone one bandage. Maybe some of you know it from World of Warcraft Arena, bandages. When you don't take damage, you can take a bandage which heals you, and every player has that. So every player has a certain amount of self-sustain, and it's gonna be also a skill check. If you're leaving your team to heal yourself because you cannot take damage, otherwise the bandage will be gone and interrupted, then your team is in a 2v3 situation or 3v4 or whatever, so you're putting your team in a disadvantage. And also you need to find a good point of time where you can get out of combat to heal strategically, and it's gonna take a while until all the effect of the bandage is taken. And of course enemies will also have an incentive to interrupt you when they see he's taking his bandage, and your teammates can peel the enemies maybe for you. So I think there is a lot of value in there that everyone has a self-sustain, but which is also balanced by interrupts. This kind of represents a talent system. I'm thinking to add a talent system where you have just a couple of talent points per class, but each talent should feel very impactful for that. So I'm not thinking of something like 0.1 seconds less task time or something like that. I'm thinking more about larger modifiers. For example, get 25% faster wide energy by performing ability ABC, and you would take that because your team has a very good synergy with wide energy and the wide energy tools that your class provides. Just a couple of talents, but each talent should be impactful, and every talent should also be viable in the best case. So there should be no dead weight. Furthermore, I'm thinking of a customization system for your equipment. There won't be a grind. I'm thinking of you're a gladiator in an arena. Every gladiator will get something like 50 gold before the game starts. With this gold, you can buy some equipment, but you won't be able to purchase everything that you want. So there will be trade-offs. Furthermore, builds should be visible to every player before the game loads, just for competitive feeling. So you know which build did the enemy take, what kind of gameplay actions do they want to take, and how am I gonna react to that. So something else, monetization, which is also a very interesting topic, of course, for a PvP game. I have a job, and maybe at some point of time I can replace my job with the products that I build. But until then, I also need to make some money with it. And of course, gaming, it should be accessible, especially a game like that. I'm thinking about monetizing like more competitive ranked play with a very low subscription. Let me know, guys, what you think about it. Something that I want to implement rather early is like leagues. And one season in a league will be a couple of weeks. And in a league, you will play with your team, with your best friends. So maybe like your 4 players, 1 is substitute and 3 are core players, and you can substitute as you want. And for a couple of weeks, you're gonna be playing with only your teammates in a league. And like if you get rank 1, 2 or 3, you climb up 1 division at the end of the season. Again, which will not be an entire year, but more like a couple of weeks, I think. If you're in the bottom of the league, you will of course also drop a division. And I think to monetize maybe that, if you want to play in a rather more serious game format, so you're kind of invested in the game already, if you attend like fixed days where you have league games, then this is kind of the player group that would be probably most willing to pay for that, for a well-moderated kind of league system. So I'm thinking of that. Like normal gameplay, you will be able to play for free. But if you want to take part in the league system, like play competitive matches within the game itself, then you have to be subscribed. And I'm thinking about something like $1 or €1 for 1 week, or like €3 for an entire month of play. Yeah, also cosmetics is something that I'm considering. Like maybe people want to buy cosmetics for some of their stuff. But also with the premium tier, I want to provide an option to disable all cosmetics. And yeah, some players also just like cosmetics, so I think it's a very fair way also to finance a game. What I forgot also to mention, like again, like with this competitive league system, you will also be able to scout the enemy. You know, on Wednesday we play against the London douchebags or whatever, and then like on Friday you're gonna play against the Paris heroes or whatever. You will be able to see the profiles, you're gonna be able to scout their match history, you will be able to see what they play, you see their replays, so you can prepare, maybe also in a practice tool that is included in this tier. So as an outlook, yeah, let's first take a look how I would also like to maybe further develop the game. If it's successful, if this arena format is successful and people are enjoying it, there is also the option to bring other game modes. For example, like capture the flag or hold the bases, like you know from Arati Basin in World of Warcraft or Warzone Gulch, like these very, very classic game modes, which can be very fun, I think. And maybe also a random game mode, like something like League of Legends does right now with ARAM or ARAM Mayhem, where you can really go crazy with your builds and you have a just like brain off or fun game mode. If that's also successful, then there is the option to bring people into raids and dungeons. It wouldn't be implemented like in many other games. It's more like a really hardcore Souls-like raid where you really need to be performing very well with your group to clear it. I'm thinking of different modes. So there would be normal, which is like really, really hardcore. In the normal mode for the dungeon, once you unlock it, you would also permanently upgrade items or mechanics for the rest of the game. So like being the first to clear this dungeon would be something really heroic. Think for example like the last raid boss drops an item, and this item then gets enabled in the other game modes too. And like you could have a note forever like enabled by the Berlin basketball squad or something like that if this is your raid group. So yeah, really, really like connecting raids to what happens in the other parts of the game. And since this is gonna be so difficult, there will be also like more easy tiers, something like easy for players who are not as dedicated but still want a kind of challenging experience. And then like for people who just want to see the content, there will be kind of a tourist mode where you can just go there and no matter if you get hit by every boss ability, you're gonna survive and clear the boss just because you want to see the raid. But the unlocks will just be at the normal difficulty. And yeah, like with that, there is also the option to build an open world. Again, it would not be like in other MMOs that you play. It's gonna be more like PvP areas with housing. Maybe that also reset after a couple of weeks. And with your group, you can then compete for areas and like where you can build your houses and maybe some mini games in the world itself. It wouldn't be a world where you take a quest and then it's gonna be like kill 5 boars and pick 8 flowers. There won't be this kind of quests. If there are quests in the open world, they need to be really special. They need to be like connected to the storyline, and they need to be really worth of the player's time. So this won't be a main content of the game probably for a long time, but like really meaningful quests with very interactive gameplay, highly immersed in the world, and just a couple of them. Because these will be very difficult to make, there will be just a couple of them, and since they are so rare but also well made, you also will want to play them and it will not feel like a grind. Think of like taking the RPG games that you love, but just in a multiplayer game and making them awesome there. Alright, and last but not least, of course, there's an option to add some lore. Like with lore, there's nothing I really thought of so far. Maybe something like the humans, they built the robots and they use the robots to fight for their own amusement. The robots are built by companies like sponsored, and these companies are parts of different solar systems and planets, and all of this like robots on F Lava will be a clash of all of that. This is kind of the direction that I would imagine having a lore of. If any one of you saw Westworld, they have a very similar setting, like where the robots then kind of stand up against the humans that enslave them, and you have like this very thin line, what's like real and what's like mechanical, what's human and what's a robot. I think this could be a very fun storyline for this kind of setup. And also like, of course, like how do the robots get like these magical abilities by gathering resources and stuff like that. And this could also be embedded in the open world experience. So there's a lot of directions that would be interesting to pursue. And there's a long way to go. This is also a good point to talk about where I am right now, probably. I did a couple of hours of Unreal tutorials. I have like 30 hours or something like that in Unreal Engine, which is not a lot, I have to say. Like, yes, I'm still kind of newbie, but I'm looking forward to the journey. Programming is nothing new for me. I've been a developer for like 7 or 8 years professionally now, mostly in the web context though. So let's see how I transition to Unreal Engine and the multiplayer. What I already have is a proof of concept for multiplayer with Steam. I have already a setup where 2 players can connect to a game and then like you can play together. There's no content yet, but this is working, and on top of that, now I'm gonna implement all the features. And let's see what the journey brings. I'm very excited to build it. I'm excited to start it. Tomorrow probably I will start developing the actual game. Today is gonna be cutting this video, and stay tuned for more. I really enjoyed this dev talk. Let's see how it's gonna resonate, and let's see how it's gonna be if I really start developing it. Of course, everything won't be available in the start. I try to aim for releasing a first playable alpha version very soon. So a couple of weeks or a couple of months until I can give a first client to the publicity. And then as a community, we would be able to develop the game more closely together. So I can get the feedback from the players, which is very important to me. And to close it off, to come back like really to the why. Currently, I'm looking for a competitive gaming experience, but without the grind. So I said already, like I've been playing a lot of League of Legends and World of Warcraft. Like with League of Legends, it's a good game. I like it actually, most of it. From the playstyle of players, you can see they just want to fight. But what made League of Legends for me always also interesting is like wave mechanics and just beating your enemy by having the better recall and the better wave state, so more this tactical kind of things. And I want to offer a game which is solely about combat, where there is no downtime. Also, League of Legends with just 3 abilities is kind of limited in PvP, and this is also something that I want to avoid. Also, like take some matchups, for example, a supporter against a fighter in League of Legends, it's unwinnable, and I don't want unwinnable matchup. If you have 3 priests playing against 3 mages or 3 warriors or whatever combination, every matchup should be winnable. That's something important to me. There shouldn't be an unplayable draft. This means, of course, also that the classes will have some similarities. They can't be as unique as maybe in other games, but it's something that I prefer, that every player still feels every game is winnable, no matter what you pick. And yeah, with World of Warcraft, I also played PvP there a bit. Been playing it for a long time. They have an arena, like the game is maybe loosely inspired by World of Warcraft Arena. But yeah, again, like it's tap targeting and the user interface is bloated and there is a healer shortage. So as a DPS, you're gonna be sitting in the queue for 30 minutes if you play. By having each team comp viable and like healers not being heal bots, I think I can avoid that. I can just throw players in a lobby and they can play and they can have fun and it's gonna be awesome and it's gonna be great. This was a lot, of course. If you're interested in the project, there will be more dev blogs on this channel, so make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, there will be a Discord server where we will gather and you can find mates to play with later on and post updates and we can have discussions about the game. I will link it also in the description. Make sure to also join the Discord. I'm gonna start adding content now. I'm also looking for playtesters and contributors and co-founders and crossovers and people who want to cooperate. And if you have anything or if you want to be part of making the game in any way that you can think of, just hit me up. I'm always open for cooperations. Besides of that, have a great day. Have the best one of your life actually, and see you later, nerds.